most respected audience, learned members of the teaching community, friends, comrades, and my dear students. Very good day to you all. Today I wish to introduce you all Professor Balu Rayan, who also served for the Department of English of St. Xavier's College. He was known for being very formal and simple. For a long time, he was also an associate NCC officer and contributed in the shaping of the student community. It was very unfortunate that Professor Balu Rayan died while he was in service, leaving behind a huge loss for the college as well as the students community. He had a natural army mindset, and therefore he always used to say that I am not important, but my officer is important. In the second stage, I am not important, my subordinates are important. Thus, he never thought that the world is revolving around him. Rather, he is a minute part of this world and insignificant when compared to the contribution of others, and he also wished to contribute to the best of his abilities. That is Professor Balu Rayan, and therefore he did not reveal much of his daily life to his students because he thought that was not important. One could faintly remember his past from Kungu region, and his father was an ex-serviceman and he married very late. His father always thought about the future of their family, and therefore he tried to empower his mother, and he made her study and go for a teaching job. So at a very age he had a tenderness for the development of women and recognized their inevitable role in the society. It has nothing to do with St. Xavier's College because at that time it was not a co-educational institution, and almost every teacher is only a male. As per the oral information he gave, he took interest in studies, and after completing his school on his own interest he joined English literature. After completing MA and B.Ed, he joined a school, and he was very close with a father who managed the school. He was a thoroughly disciplined man. Discipline, as per army definition, is respecting the orders and instructions of the higher ups and also elders. And Balu Rayan, he completely followed this throughout his life. And the father in power was completely happy with the performance of Professor Balu Rayan in the school. However, when he got admission into the MPhil course, Professor Balu Rayan decided to resign his post as a teacher in the school. The father responsible of the management was shocked to learn that Professor Balu Rayan is resigning his post. He took every effort to stop his decision, but Professor Balu Rayan thought that admission into MPhil is going to change his thinking pattern and will definitely lead him towards a bright future, and therefore he had a passionate tilt of mind towards further studies, and he was firm in his decision, and he humbly repeated that he wanted to join the MPhil course. Once after joining the MPhil course, he was a dedicated student and he forgot all about the past in the school where he was employed. But on the day of his Viva Voce, the father, who was in responsibility of managing the school where he worked, he appeared in the campus where Professor Balu Rayan was studying, and he asked for his future plans. Seeing this father coming behind him, Professor Balu Rayan was shocked. Only he was able to think that it is the price for his disciplined life, and therefore he said that he has no vision at all. The vacancy in which Professor Balu Rayan worked in the school was filled with another person, and therefore he could not be accommodated into the school again. And therefore, this father gave a letter to another father who ran a school in Andhra Pradesh, and he requested him to go and take up that job. And without any vision, Professor Balu Rayan, he went to that school and he joined the course. It's a boarding school meant for elite students, rather students of elite background. Again, in the new environment, he adapted with his known discipline and sincerity, and he rendered every work allotted by the father who managed that school. Professor Balu Rayan often remembered that the experience he gathered from that school has had severe impact on his life, and he was very magnanimous in accepting that he learned a lot from the elite background students, for the kind of English they spoke was considerably different from what they speak and use in normal background in Tamil Nadu. It must be a school like Montfort School in Yerkad and other elite schools. While serving at the school, he came across the advertisement seeking application for the lecturer post at St. Xavier's College, and he went to the father seeking permission for applying for the post. But that father discouraged his application. He did not want to lose a person like Professor Balu Rayan, and he insisted him to stay there. But Professor Balu Rayan, he wanted to apply. Therefore, the father offered him a pay at par with college teachers. But Professor Balu Rayan said, a school is a school, but a college is a different place, and it will provide adequate scope for my growth and for my status, and my family will be happy when I am appointed as a teacher in a college. Thus, he was able to convince the father, and this father in Andhra Pradesh and the father who helped him in Tamil Nadu, they both sat and discussed, and they decided to send him to St. Xavier's College to take up the post of lecturer, and he appeared for the interview and he was selected. Professor Balu Rayan often used to say that four of us joined this college at the same time, and I am the junior most of all the four. At that time, there was no rotation of headship, and therefore he used to funnily say that if at all I get a chance to become a HOD, I will be head of the department for 4 days or 5 days. But he was not ambitious of taking up any posts or additional charges. As per his account, there were none to take up the post of the associate NCC officer of the college, and therefore he came forward to take that responsibility. Some teachers, they make use of this opportunity for their self growth. For example, Dr. Arul Chelakumar of St. Joseph's College, he became a professor of Bharatidasan University Economics Department, and definitely the post of associate NCC officer added to his biodata and helped him to achieve the post. Similarly, in the same battalion, that is 5 Tamil Nadu Battalion, there were people like KSP Durairaj, Major KSP Durairaj, who was later principal of MDT Hindu College and also controller of examinations of Manonmaniam Sundarnar University, and Major Moni of Ambai Arts College. He became principal of Mano College, Shankaran Kovil, and also Govinda Peri. But Professor Balu Rayan did not have such ambition, and he wanted only to help the St. Xavier's College management. Though he wanted to become a dedicated teacher, he has come across several of the civil services aspirants, and he was surprised to see their type of work and got to understand the administrative structure followed in India. There are two types of administration according to him. One is civil and another is defense, and he thoroughly believed that Defense administration has been subordinated to civil administration. The same kind of idea he implemented in the classroom also. There are two kinds of students, one who is also an NCC cadet, and others are normal students who did not have anything to do with the NCC. These students who are not associated with the NCC are like civil officers. They are treated liberally, whereas the NCC students, they are trained, molded at every pace. He had the habit of calling students Raja and always controlled the flow of words, and you cannot expect him to utter words that are not suitable or acceptable by the students. In the first semester, he taught us Forsaken Merman, a very famous poetry, I think by Matthew Arnold. As per the story, a girl marries a merman, and hearing the sound of the church bell, she realizes that she should not be engaged with the merman, and she leaves the merman and comes to regular life. While teaching this, he gave an advice. He said, Raja, you should not make any errors in life. Imagine if a drop of ink is being spilled in your shirt. It will look awkward. You will find it difficult to erase that from your shirt. In the place of erasing it, if you keep on spilling ink, then it will become design and you will accept that as normal, and a new design is formed, and therefore this will lead to corruption of your mind, and therefore you should not entertain this kind of a behavior, and you should not do anything against law and against the system. Society becomes corrupt in such a manner according to him, and therefore he makes a student to think deeply and realize why we should live with a set of values and uphold it. One day, a non teaching staff was telling him that the principal is waiting to see him. He could not make his limbs stop there. He was running and he was about to reach the principal's office with a lot of tension. For him, whatever is expected from the management, he has to immediately address and fulfill their expectation, and not even a minute should be delayed in that. Such sincerity and dedication he had. He had a philosophical bent of mind, and he taught us absurd dramas such as Waiting for Godot, and also prose such as Sesame and Lilies of John Ruskin. The main purpose of this particular talk is to bring out the contribution of Professor Balu Rayan. As far as Professor Cleophas and Professor Tyagarajan are concerned, anybody can speak volumes and volumes about them. But being an NCC student, I think I have more responsibility to speak about Professor Balu Rayan than anybody. However, in all the cases, I am just a pioneer, and many of the memories are yet to come. The Duke of Edinburgh, who won Napoleon in the War of Waterloo, he said that the war was won at the playing fields of Eton. Similarly, some of the most successful students of the NCC, they used to say that our success is achieved in the NCC grounds of St. Xavier's College. In such a manner, Professor Balu Rayan managed the NCC of St. Xavier's College at that time. His office was like an extension of a military unit. Particularly when I was studying in St. Xavier's College, the principal was Reverend Father Francis M. Peter, and he wanted the involvement of the students straightly in every affairs, and therefore he instructed Professor Balu Rayan to give the responsibility to the students, and therefore the NCC under officer became very powerful, and a strict junior senior relationship evolved. These days, in many colleges, such type of discipline is being evolved. However, we were the pioneers in that front also. If a junior sees a senior, he has to stand in attention and then only he has to speak. Similarly, is the haircut and the way of dressing and the way of behavior. Every single NCC student was different in the college. The college in itself was a disciplined college, but among all the disciplined students, NCC students topped. The matter being such, when we go for camps, even engineering college students and agri college students, they wish to be in part of our company, and they obeyed to the orders of the under officer of St. Xavier's College, and their under officers they subordinated to the under officer of St. Xavier's College easily. And if at all they are to punish a student for raising abnormal voice, they will pick some 10 persons from a crowd and they will ask who are in St. Xavier's College students in this group. They will make them fall out and they will send them to join the files, because they definitely thought that a St. Xavier's College student or a cadet will not do such mischief. Such was the discipline maintained by the NCC cadets of St. Xavier's College. Every year, Professor Balu Rayan he conducted cycle expedition for 3 days, covering about 250 to 300 kilometers. Lieutenant Balu Rayan, wearing a white T-shirt and a white shorts, he also joined the students and he completed his 3 days journey in bicycle. Initially, we thought that he will be coming in his TVS champ, but he came in bicycle and he constantly encouraged the students. The conduct of cycle expedition had a severe formula. Firstly, the under officer and other senior students have to go for a recce and identify the proper places and ensure that night halt centers are available in certain places. After completing the recce, they will divide the entire expedition team into 4 or 5 groups. There will be a medical group, there will be a puncture group, there will be a rescue group, and the 3 days cycle expedition will be a very interesting and disciplined affair, and it contributed for enhancing the ability of the students. In the year 1996, a C certificate test was about to be conducted in our campus. At that time, the commanding officer of the 5th Battalion was Lieutenant Colonel Pradeep Kumar. He made a request to Professor Balu Rayan, Lieutenant Balu Rayan, saying that the colonel is about to come to your college and I wish that your principal come out of his office and welcome him. The lieutenant could not turn down the request of his superior officer, and therefore he, with a lot of hesitation, went to the principal and said what is said to him. The principal said that, see, I am giving the campus free of cost, and if at all the colonel comes to my office, I will entertain him with some soft drinks or tea and snacks, and we should stop there. You cannot expect me to come out of my office and receive him. It would be better if a person with academic background is being appointed as the commanding officer of your battalion, he said. And they also, it seems, wrote a letter to the NCC headquarters, which caused a lot of trouble to Lieutenant Balu Rayan. The NCC physical training instructors did not cooperate well, and the cadet under officer and the quartermaster also were not able to maintain the stock properly, and all this caused a lot of trouble within the NCC office. Since my father was in the fire service, I collected a lot of used pants and shirts, and we tried to maintain the stocks back to the good health. Some other students whose parents were in the police service also helped us. With his leadership quality, Professor Balu Rayan somehow managed to bring the NCC company from all the troubles in a short span of time. However, he often used to say that I have to enrich my academic aspirations, and that is why I have taken this teaching profession. He had a very good writing ability and he wanted to translate his ability into publishing works. At home, he had a very supporting wife who was also working in PWD as engineer, and he had wonderful two sons. On one occasion, the NCC under officers and a few senior candidates visited his home, and we were given a warm welcome by his family members. He is a tall man in Indian parameter, but he always thought that intelligence in human beings are more important than physical appearance, and often he advised the students to go for civil services or any other better job and take teaching as the last choice. You have to contribute for the society, and as a teacher your significance will not be felt by the larger society, and therefore as a last choice you keep teaching, he used to say. And if at all you become a teacher, take up NCC also. In a sense, I am lucky that when I was taking up job at Manonmaniyam Sundarnar University, he was also working in St. Xavier's College as a professor. In that sense, he is also a colleague apart from being my teacher. But it was very unfortunate that he succumbed to heart attack and died very early, leaving his family members and students in desperation. Most of his time, Professor Balu Rayan spent in solitude, and whenever a teacher is in trouble, he always visited them and contributed in consoling them. He had no difference of opinion with anybody, and therefore he was hated by none. It was again a great loss that a person of such values disappeared from this earth very early. His funeral ceremony was conducted at Xavier Colony, and after his death, his family left for some other place, leaving their home on rent. All of us wished that God be with them. With this small introduction to Professor Balu Rayan, I conclude my small talk on him. Thank you very much for your patient listening. Jai Hind.